From the Buckeye TV studio at The Ohio State University, it's the National Hour, where we cover the hottest topics in sports on and off campus. This week's discussion will include the Buckeye football team officially kicking off its national championship campaign this Saturday, the ongoing soap opera known as the New York Jets, and the Houston Astros may be the worst team in Major League Baseball, but at least they're the most profitable. Wait, what? Here to talk about it are seasoned veterans Darius Thigpen and fresh young newcomer Jeff Hammersley.
And thank you for joining us here on the National Hour today. I'm Darius Thigpen.
I'm Jeffrey Hammersley.
And it's great that you could join us here for the National Hour. And we're going to get into some of the other stuff later, but we have to start off with the bread and the butter, what everyone wants to talk about. And that, of course, Jeff, is Ohio State football. The Buckeyes are going to be playing Buffalo at noon at the Shoe on Saturday. It's going to be a big game, the first game of the season. The Buckeyes, it's going to be huge. I mean, this is going to be the first game of the year. It's obviously the one that everyone wants to see after however long with no football.
Oh, I'm just football season back. That is
yes, we're back.
Saturday cannot come fast enough at this point. But yeah, Darius, as you said, an undefeated season last season, and really Ohio State's locked and loaded this season for a run now at a national championship. But either way, I think the mentality in Columbus is our season will end in Pasadena, either Rose Bowl or title or bust, and really it all starts Saturday.
Yeah, and with the Buckeyes, preseason number 2 behind Bama, like you said, it feels like Pasadena or bust, whether it's the Rose Bowl or the national championship game, which will be in Pasadena in January. It feels like this has to be a big year. The Buckeyes coming off a 12-0 season.
Oh, absolutely.
And they are expected to be even better than last year.
Yeah, we had Braxton Miller. He's our go-to quarterback. And like last year is like his first real year with Urban Meyer, just trying to get the stuff done, run, pass, do what you got to do to win. Now he's got an entire offseason to work with Urban. And it's like last season, okay, he could be a Heisman contender. Now it's like he is the Heisman contender right now. And really for Ohio State, that just adds more fuel to the fire.
I mean, it just sounds so weird to say it like that. This team would have to go 14-0 this year. They would have had to win 26 in a row to win one national championship. I mean, I don't think that's ever been done before for a team to go that many games and just get one.
Especially in this BCS era. Miami of the early 2000s, that team was unstoppable until they played Ohio State. Then you had Alabama. They lost to A&M last season. It's tough to go undefeated. I mean, it seems like, okay, you play in the Big Ten, there's maybe one or two trap games. Like for us, Michigan
Purdue has always been up there too.
Purdue, then you had like this season Northwestern, but it's like it's tough to win, especially you go in night games. You have like this, just one bad game, and your title hopes literally go up in smoke.
Yeah, I mean, it only takes one, like you said. So Ohio State is going to have to pay attention to every game. If they're going to want to win a national championship. And the first one is going to be against Buffalo. So let's talk about Buffalo a little bit for a second. University at Buffalo, coming off a 4-8 season last year in the MAC. It was a rough season for Buffalo, Jeff. But, I mean, this is a team that has some guys who have seen Ohio State before and have seen Urban Meyer before.
Well, yeah. I mean, look at the Buffalo's coach in Quinn. He went against Urban in the Sugar Bowl when he took over as interim coach for Cincinnati a few years back. So, like, he knows Urban. Now, question is, can he compete with Urban? I mean, like, you can have the best team in the world, but when you got to take on guys like Braxton Miller, who you can shut down the passing game, but he can run. You shut down his run, he can pass. So it's like, it's an uphill battle, especially opening up on the road in Columbus, where everybody who's been football starved for 5 or 6 months, back first game, and now there's something to play for now.
Now, one thing that we do have to mention a little bit, there are a lot of guys from Ohio on the roster, so you do have to take that into consideration. Whenever you see in-state guys going up against the big boys, the D1 guys, the main guys from an in-state rivalry, guys who went to the same school. As a matter of fact, Braxton Miller has a teammate of his on Buffalo. They don't get intimidated. Right. It's like, I know Braxton. I played with him all throughout high school. Now I get to see him at the Shoe. It's obviously a big stage, but these guys aren't going to be intimidated by the names on the back of the jersey. Absolutely.
But I think the big thing is they won't be intimidated, but they may be intimidated when Braxton pulls off a couple of juke moves in open field and he just takes off for like 60, 70-yard touchdown. But going in, Buffalo, like for Ohio State, look at last season. We've had sluggish first quarters of Buffalo. If they start clicking, get a little bit hot, maybe get a touchdown early, I can see them hanging for a little bit, but for the entire duration of the game, I think there's just too much star power on that Ohio State team.
Yeah, like you mentioned, there was some close calls for Ohio State last year. A couple of them at the Shoe, Cal, Purdue, UCF. So Ohio State is going to have to be focused coming out ready to play again. That game will be at noon. You can listen on the student home of the Buckeyes, Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio on OhioStateSports.net. Buckeye TV will have extensive coverage as they have had all season, preseason, and season long. You can watch the Buckeyes on Buckeye TV. Now, a couple of things that we have to get to that not as excited to talk about, a couple of suspensions. Ohio State has 3 guys who will not be playing in the first game. Carlos Hyde, who was suspended for the first 3 games. Bradley Roby and Rod Smith will also miss the first game. I mean, these are key guys. I mean, obviously you're playing Buffalo, but still, you don't want to see guys getting suspended.
No, especially look at Carlos Hyde. I mean, he's coming off of a monster season last year, and he's already missed the first 3 games this season. Doesn't seem like much when you take into account you're playing Buffalo, San Diego State, and then Cal. But the problem is you use these opening games to get ready for the meat of the schedule, the Northwesterns, the Wisconsins. But when you lose a couple weeks, it may take a couple weeks for him to get back on track. And when he gets back, he'll have Florida A&M, and then it's Northwestern. So really, he needs to hit the ground running coming off that suspension.
Now, the interesting thing with this, too, is that Hyde is going to be suspended for 3 games, and this is actually after what he was accused of was dropped. All charges were dropped against him, and he's still suspended for 3 games. That's Urban Meyer.
Yeah.
What do you think about Urban Meyer sending a message like that?
Urban's basically saying, if you put yourself in a bad position, I'm just going to just drop a hammer on you. Because the last thing you want is something to be true, like he actually hit somebody. Now the entire team, it's like, okay then, but it's just Urban's trying to make sure nothing bad happens to this team, especially even if it looks bad, you're going to sit down a game. But looking for the future, the player would go, look, when he's asked, hey, let's go to a party or something, he's like, no, I've been suspended once. I'm not messing around with this guy ever again.
Yes, Carlos Hyde coming off of the suspension. It's 3 games. We're going to be looking to see him. He'll come back for the Florida A&M game. And Bradley Roby and Rod Smith will be ready for game number 2. Now, a guy who will be playing hopefully all year long, Braxton Miller, the most exciting player in the country if you ask anybody around here. His Heisman campaign is beginning, and if you look at ESPN, they have him ranked as the number 2 guy in the Heisman race behind Jadeveon Clowney.
I think, I can understand Clowney being up there, but I think Braxton, he can do so. I mean, Clowney's good. I mean, he plastered
We'll
Michigan.
get to Clowney later, but let's talk about our guy. Let's talk about our guy.
I know, but Braxton's he can do everything. He can, if you need him to run, get that 5 yards on a 3rd and 5, he'll get you 8 or 9. He sees a clear cut to the end zone, he's taking a run for it. I mean, he can pass. Passing game, huge. And especially this year, I expect a lot more passing, so his passing numbers will go up. And his rushing, it can only get better at this point.
Yeah, you look at Miller, and he, in his freshman season, only threw for 1,000 yards. Now, he was behind Bowserman for quite a bit of the season, and once he got in there, he really took over and proved that he deserved to be the starter. And Miller has been an integral part of the offense, accounted for over 3,000 total yards last year, and you can only expect more.
Well, he is the offense right now, especially in the early going where Carlos Hyde's going to be sitting out. I mean, I think if the play call would be Braxton, run the ball if you have to, pass the ball if you have to. But, I mean, the opening, especially with Buffalo, the next few games, this is where his Heisman numbers, they can just put a couple hundred on the ground maybe, a couple hundred in the air, and he is – I cannot describe how good this season's going to be with Braxton. I mean, he is right now going in. He is the guy in Columbus, and he's right
expectations
now the guy to win the Heisman.
So high, yeah.
Yeah, it's off the charts. That's how high it is.
Now,
right now.
one of the critiques that you can have about Miller from last year was his was the fact that he got hurt a couple of different times running the ball.
That's the big thing.
So, do you think he needs to start throwing the ball a bit more?
I would say, I think it's situational. I think the passing, right now, if you are, let's start from the ground one, from the ground floor. Defenses know basically he's a scrambler.
Yeah.
He's gonna run. Right now, if he can get the passing game, start throwing 20, 30-yard passes downfield and getting some big plays, people are gonna go, okay, what's he doing? He's gonna pass it, or is he gonna rush it? And at that point, he becomes a dual threat. And any way he goes, he's picking up some serious yards.
And when you look at guys like RG3, even Russell Wilson, that's what really makes them the dual threat, the fact that they are throw first, but they'll use their legs not just for rushing yards, but to keep the play alive and keep the passing lanes open. So that'd be huge.
That will be especially
because we know he has that mobility.
Right, especially in big games. Like let's say you go to Northwestern and it's late in the game, we're down 2 or 3 points. Northwestern's going to be going, okay, do we prevent pass? Do we prevent rush? What's he doing?
That's what made Troy Smith so unbeatable. you didn't know what to do with him.
And then by the time you did know what he was doing, that pass was already 30 yards downfield and a touchdown was about to be scored. So it's if he can make the passing work, it's all bets are off of how good he's going to be this season.
So we're talking about the Heisman expectations for Braxton Miller. He's number 2 on the ESPN watch list. The guy who's number 1 right now is a big dude who will be playing tonight, Jadeveon Clowney of South Carolina. Last defensive player to win was Charles Woodson, but he also ran back punts. He also played a little bit of wide receiver. Yeah. This would be the true defensive guy to win the Heisman if Jadeveon Clowney won. And right now, a lot of people think he is a serious candidate, Jeff.
I mean, if he starts eating quarterback, I would say he would be a serious candidate at this point. And I think it opens up tonight. If he gets like 4 or 5 sacks and just a boatload of tackles, I think he becomes a real serious contender here. If he can he's in the SEC, so he's not playing cupcake teams. He's playing real deal competition here. If he can walk in, get 2 or 3 sacks in a big game and a bunch of tackles and some sacks, fumbles, and everything, he's a legitimate and real contender for a Heisman.
Now they are playing North Carolina tonight, so not quite at the caliber of SEC teams that are going to play throughout the season, but still a rivalry game and a big-time D1 school that they're going to be playing.
Absolutely.
So we'll see what that barometer is set from Jadeveon Clowney. He's going to be setting the bar high early. Now, a couple of other guys who we might want to talk about really quick for Heisman. Marcus Mariota over at Oregon. He's a guy we need to mention. And Teddy Bridgewater. What do you think about those guys?
Marcus at Oregon, he's like the West Coast Braxton, basically. He can pass. He was in that hurry-up Chip Kelly offense. He can run the ball. He can do a little bit of passing. Bridgewater, looking at him, I get he's at Louisville, but what he did against Florida,
torched Florida.
I walked in that game thinking, Florida's got this one. I watched the first half, and I flipped the channel back in the third quarter. It's like, Louis, what?
Bridgewater handled that defense.
Who is this Bridgewater character we speak of? And I watched him play, and it's like, if he can take down Florida, if he can take down Florida, he goes to like a BCS bowl game with like another team, like let's say an Alabama or somebody that loses a game or something. Could he beat them? I think he could. And if we're getting that debate, he has to be in the Heisman debate too.
Oh, his numbers are going to be inflated playing in the conference that they're playing in.
Absolutely. So he becomes, his numbers, they're going to be up there with Braxton's. And if Braxton stumbles and they lose a game, and then South Carolina, Clown has a couple bad games, Bridgewater jumps from maybe the 3 or 4 guy in the Heisman seat to the guy in the leading seat going into December.
Now, going from guys who could potentially win the Heisman this year to the guy who won it last year, the redshirt freshman, Johnny Manziel, the whole saga that he's had going on this offseason. The investigation is over, so Johnny Manziel will have a half-game suspension for the first game against Rice, so he's going to have to sit out for the first half of the first game.
Not a game, not a practice, just one half.
Just one half of the first game. So the NCAA and Texas A&M have agreed on this, and he actually has not really been suspended for doing anything wrong. It was just a lack of judgment that the NCAA and Texas A&M agreed upon that he violated. It wasn't. He didn't actually break any rules. They couldn't find any evidence on him.
I think what the NCAA did right there was they had to do something. There's just way too much smoke here just to say, nah, nothing. But I think it's so much attention surrounding this thing. There's so much commotion around it. It's like they got nothing serious, but half a game. They could have done 1 or 2 games. Let's be real. You're taking him out for a half. He's already going to play half to begin with.
Half a game to me, it sounds like go sit up in your room. You're in timeout, but you get to chill with your Xbox and your TV and your internet.
Yeah,
it's not even a punishment.
Yeah, it's not even a slap on the wrist. It's like it's a threatened slap on the wrist. It's not. That's what it is.
It's wag of the finger.
It's a half game suspension. You're sitting there going. I walked in going 2 games. They're not going to play him. He'll be back for Alabama, basically. But 1 half? Come on now.
All right, so let's move on. Got a couple games to pick. Got a couple games this weekend that are some interesting games to watch. Obviously, Ohio State and Buffalo, we're going to both go with the Buckeyes on that one.
Absolutely.
How about number 5, Georgia, against number 8, Clemson? That is going to be the big one.
I want to see Mark Richt win a national title somewhere down the line. I think this season, if he can get through September, he's in the driver's seat right now. So I'm going to take Georgia and Aaron Murray in this opener on the road.
Aaron Murray's from Tampa, just like me. He's my dude. but Taj Boyd is my boy. I got to go with Clemson in that game, especially playing at home. That's a big one. That's going to be Saturday night, a fun one to watch. Another game, LSU at TCU. That's going to be played at Cowboy Stadium in Dallas. Another big early season game. Number 12 LSU, number 20 TCU. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking LSU. This LSU being 12th, they're not out of the title picture, but if they can get a big non-conference top 25 victory early, I think they can easily be in the top 10 and by SEC time and be in the running for a title. So I'm going to take LSU.
They were 2 minutes away from beating Bama last season, as in the third or fourth game of the century that they had in the last couple of years. I'm going with LSU. That's a great team. And even though they're young, they still have a lot of talent. Finally, Northwestern at Cal. A couple of teams Ohio State will play later in the season. Northwestern, number 22, going to Cal, who's unranked. Jeff, what do you think with this one?
I think Northwestern is the dark horse in this entire Big Ten. I mean, they can do some. They have the potential to do some big things this season. So I'm taking Northwestern on the road.
I'm thinking Northwestern as well, but going at Cal, that's a West Coast trip, never easy.
That's true.
Going out to the left coast. All right, that's going to do it for this first segment. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to have some NFL for you here on the National Hour.